Hi, in this video we're going to get Doubler 2 set up with Pro Tools. So the first thing we want to do once you've downloaded and registered the Doubler app is follow the in-app steps to calibrate your mic and open up a profile. Now once that's done we can head into Pro Tools. So first we want to go to Setup and go to MIDI and MIDI input devices, and here we want to make sure that Doubler 2 is ticked and press OK. After this we can go back to Setup again and go to Playback Engine where we can select our output device. It's really important here that if you're on Windows and don't have an audio interface with a dedicated ASIO driver, you'll need to use ASIO for All in order to set your buffer size to 1 to 8 samples and make sure you have low latency when using Doubler. So you can check out a full walkthrough on how to set up ASIO for All over on our Learn Doubler page, and there'll also be a link in the description of this video. But for now I'm just going to keep our Playback Engine as our inbuilt speakers. And below this is where we can set the buffer size. So as mentioned, we want this at 1 to 8 samples or below in order to reduce any latency. Once that's set up, we can just hit OK and we're ready to set up and start making music. So if I want to control drums or samples in Pro Tools, I first want to set up a few triggers in Doubler. So you can check out our other video for an in-depth guide on how to train triggers, but I'm just going to quickly add a few now. So I'm going to hit plus here. Add a couple more. So now that we've got a few triggers trained, back in Pro Tools, we can load up an instrument track. So I'm going to go Track, New, add an instrument track, and here we can then load in a plugin that we want to control. So I'm just going to use Boom. So once that's loaded up, we can select Doubler as the MIDI input in the box labeled All on this instrument track. So we want to go to Predefined Doubler 2, and here we can select which MIDI channel we want to receive information from. So by default, channel 1 receives MIDI information from the pitch side of Doubler, and channel 10 receives information from the trigger side of Doubler. So as we're controlling drums with the triggers that we just set up, we're going to choose MIDI channel 10. Make sure our track is armed on the left, and now we can use those triggers to play in a beat. So if I want to control a pitched instrument, I can add in another instrument track. So let's close Boom and add in a new track. Select instrument track, and then we can select the synth we want to control. So I'm just going to choose Expand here. Now again on the left hand side we want to select Doubler as the MIDI input, and this time as we're receiving information from the pitch side of Doubler we're going to choose channel 1. We can make sure the track is armed and that back in Doubler we have pitch on and that we're in a key lock, and now I can simply sing or hum these melodies to hear them back. Ba, 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 ba. Particularly in Expand in Pro Tools you may find that some of the parameters are moving about as you're singing, and this is because there may be CC mappings already allocated for control dials in Doubler. If you want to stop this behavior, you can right-click on any parameter that's moving around and select Forget MIDI CC. But we'll talk more about control dials in just a second. I can also record chords in exactly the same way as pitch, so I can just change the synth to polyphonic, and then let's turn the chords on, and I can simply sing those in to hear them back. I can also change the MIDI channel that the chords and pitch are being sent to. So if I go to the Assign tab, you'll see the MIDI output channels for trigger, pitch and chords. By default, pitch and chords are both going out to MIDI channel 1. But if I want, I can separate these, so I can put chords to MIDI channel 2, and then back in Pro Tools, I can change the MIDI channel if I wanted to separate chords from the single note melody line that I was singing. So let's also talk about the control dials in Doubler. So in Doubler there are 4 control dials, R, E, U and the envelope, and these can be mapped to any MIDI mappable parameter within Pro Tools. So for example, I can map an R vowel to the filter cutoff on a synth. So to do that, I can select the parameter I want to control, so let's choose the cutoff here, and simply hit Learn MIDI CC. After that, I can hit Map next to the relevant vowel I want to use, so let's use this R vowel. And now they're linked, so as I move from an E to an R vowel, the cutoff of that synth changes. E, R, E, R, E, R. So that's the basics of how to get Doubler 2 set up with Pro Tools, but if you want to find out more and go in depth with other parts of Doubler, make sure to check out our Learn Doubler page on the website.